December the 3rd, 2024. Guys, you're looking at a map of Lake Tulare. This is in California, and this was a map done by the USGS, done with LiDAR imaging, and it was done in 2019, and this would be what it would look like if it was full today. And you're talking about a lot of water capacity, but last year you had a lot of extra rain in the area, and this thing started covering up roads and things like that. And what happened was the downwater release was at 100%. In other words, all the people in different districts, businesses, or whatever it was, had water allotments. And last year, because of that, there was 100% allotments. And I think we did a couple of videos about the situation. It was covering up roads and some towns and things like that. And this was last June. This is near Alpaw. That's what they call it, I think. Anyway, during that time, everyone in that basin got, and downstream from that, got 100% allotment, like I was talking about. That has changed drastically. Now, imagine going from 100% to 50%. That would be pretty tough, or 25%, or 10%. But they have shut it down to 5%. And for thousands of years, this thing was full. This was last, again, June, I think around the 26th, and this was in the Alpaw area. A lot of water came in there, but they let it drain back out, guys. Instead of stopping it and to help the farmers and the people that need it, they let it go back out into the ocean. And now they're talking about desalination, guys. That's super expensive, not very, you'd have to have it on huge amounts, have enough desalination plants. But guys, why let it go out to start with if you're going to pull it back out of the ocean? You could save a little here and there, but these things, this needs to be stopped, guys. Y'all have got to get Newsom out of office. Now he's going to give you 5% allocation. Let's look at that. And coming this afternoon from Breitbart, and this is Joel Pollack, says the California Department of Water Resources, called the DWR, has granted only 5% of the requested water allocations to agencies throughout the state, amid concerns about a hot summer and a possible return of drought and a dry winter. The past 2 winters provided ample rain and snow to the state, resulting in 100% allocation in 2023 and the reemergence of, again, historic Lake Tulare in the heart of the Central Valley. But summer heat waves and predictions of a dry La Nina atmospheric winter suggest that rainfall could be low in the next few months and drought could return. Now, this came out yesterday from the Department of Water Resources. It said they announced in an initial state water project SWP allocation forecast of 5% of requested supplies for 2025. The SWP provides water to 29 public water agencies that serve 27 million Californians. The December initial water supply forecast is the first allocation of the new water year and is based on current reservoir storage and conservative assumptions for the precipitation to come. For comparison, last year, the initial allocation for water year 2024 was 10% of requested supplies. By the end of the season, though, they had increased it to 40%, again, for the people that were requesting it. So that was a big increase. The initial allocation forecast announced today does not take into account the series of strong storms that brought precipitation to above average across Northern California in the last 2 weeks of November. That's a good thing. These storms will be taken into account along with other variables for future allocation updates. And again, you just saw where they updated it midsummer. It says, prior to these storms, the start of the water year has been dry and warm. Critics of California's water management policies argue that the state's periodic droughts are man-made and that water scarcity could be avoided through increased water storage and desalination. The prioritization of farm and household use over flushing fresh water out to sea to maintain river depths and preserve endangered fish species. Guys, there's got to be ways to do that. Because you've got so many people living there, you're going to have to make a choice. Now, I'm pro-life on all creatures, humans and all animals. And I'm not saying do anything to hurt them, but, there's a lot of places that they will set aside areas for that. But anyway, they are it's almost like the last few years between the fires and the droughts and all of that, that they want a lot of people to move, just saying. And I'm wondering, of the 27 million Californians, if you think about it, a lot of folks have left there in the last year. So that may have come down some, but you got to put in the ones that came across, so it may be more, right? Anyway, guys, it's just a quick update. Again, we're going to watch this weather in the next few days. You watch, and guys, it was a beautiful place there, and it just, maybe if you can get the right people in office, and the Chinese don't take over everything, y'all can get somebody in there that will start to conserve more and more water, because you're going to need it. But this was a schooner called the Water Witch on Tulare Lake in 1883, surrounded by wildlife. Look at the birds, all the waterfowl, probably a tremendous amount of fishing. Again, that's a schooner, and they were more than likely doing a lot of fishing and everything else going around this huge area of California. I can see that they had already taken a lot of timber out by that time. See this? I don't know if it had burned prior to that. That never helps. All that does is add mud into your fresh water, because these trees and all, they capture a lot of that between the leaves and the roots and everything else. Not a good idea. Even then, I can see that it was more than likely on a downhill run to destruction. But going back to the people that are here a long time, and this was paradise in a way for them. And again, through the greed of development, things like that, they let it drain into the ocean, a lot of it. It is really an unbelievable situation. What poor management. I mean, how dumb can you be? A lot of times it's not. Again, it is, I think it's tied into the laws in California, extreme taxation, extreme laxation on crime, and all of that. A lot of businesses are moving out of there. And I think that may be part of the plan. People are being burned out, not being helped. And so maybe there's so many minerals there that whoever's going to come into that area may have that plan. You got a lot of, if you put that lake back in place, you could grow a lot more crops, and you could support a lot more wildlife and things like that. But guys, I just wanted to touch base on this. If you're in that down water range of the 27 million people, it's something to think about, especially the big farmers and all that before spring. And I'm sure you're already aware of it, probably through newsletters, through the Water Association there. But that would determine a lot on how much you spent on tractors, fertilizers, labor, seed, equipment, all of the above, service on the equipment. You know how much it is. And so it's coming back to bite them right now. They, again, greed, let everything overpopulate in many cities. Let's just build and build. Developers, even you see it now in the Phoenix area and other places, are coming in and with money under the table and getting the ability to build houses where they cannot assure water would be there. But because that money is stoking a lot of fires between the developers and the city managers. Now, it's not just there, but back then it had started. That money to develop, bring people in without thinking about conservation. And would you have enough water? And so this is what results from it. And especially when you have the type of leadership that's in that state. I remember I've been there back in the 80s. I was in Buena Vista, in that area. We went down to Huntington Beach right there. I was over there training with some equipment for Panasonic at that time. But guys, it was beautiful, and that was before Fukushima and all of that. But the actual Asian influence was very strong there. They owned the Buena Vista Hotel, which was over by Knott's Berry Farm that we were in, and it was all run by Chinese. They were very nice. I had no problems with it, but that influence has been there since at least the 80s and probably long before that. And it's kind of been a takeover of the ports from that, if you noticed it. But right now, man, California needs to turn around like a lot of the nation has. And the only way you guys are going to do it, and some of you are talking about actually separating from the cities, the rural areas of California, getting away from the big cities that are sanctuary cities and pull all your taxes in there and all the corruption and crime involved. That would be a great idea. It would be an even better idea if you could figure out where the cheating's coming from in the votes, because there's no way that many of you guys out there are voting for the candidates that you have year after year after year. Think about Mad Max and Nancy and all that group, and now you're dealing with an offspring of the Pelosi tribe. But maybe that can change. Let's hope so. But right now, you need to, if you're thinking about moving, not just if you're thinking about living there and you're a farmer, or you need the water to do whatever you're doing, then it's not getting any better right now. That state has got a lot of problems, and it's a shame to see it. Every big city in the nation, in every state, has gone downhill very bad. Even here, our capital city is somewhere that most people don't want to go anymore. Just it isn't worth it. The crime is there just like everywhere else, but it's not. It's a small city and not a big state, but that's a small city. We don't have that big of a problem, but where you're in like New York, lower New York and all that area where you've got the big cities, there's trouble there, Chicago. And this is just kind of an outlier of what we're going to see coming. But maybe we can get the right people in here. And if I guess I would hate to say the federal government step in with the federal water department. They'll probably have to clean house pretty good there. Someone needs to step in here and take control of this. That's a conservative that understands what's going on, because you can't just create a crisis and walk away and go into Hawaii for your vacation. We're seeing a lot of that lately. But guys, there's something more important than any of this, and that is keep your focus on our Father in heaven. In other words, let Him guide you on your decisions. Let Him guide you on your steps. And the way He does as you focus on Him, stay in touch, stay in tune to that frequency, and keep it as you walk in this life. You're going to need it more than ever. Believe me. But guys, we have a light in us. And that light comes from our Father in heaven through Jesus Christ. And no amount of darkness can overcome it. They will try, they can't do it. So keep your light burning brightly. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.